My back is killing me, for anyone wondering.
Oh, mine too. Like, I woke up achy, and I don't know why.
I screwed up my neck a few days ago, and I'm not sure like the details of what's... You know what, let's actually hold this off. Brad doesn't like that to edit in the before stuff, so...
I was about to say, this is how if the Agent Gamer becomes a thing, this is going to be all the podcasts just complaining about our aches and pains.
Yeah. The Agent Gamer podcast brought to you by Ben Gay.
And Cialis.
By Ben Gay, Cialis, and our friend Gay Ben. I need a Gay Ben friend. Brad should not have left us alone.
No, he shouldn't have. Oh well.
I had a question. Have we two English? I'm the one hosting this. Have you and I done a podcast just the two of us before?
Maybe one?
Like one or two. It's usually when it's duos. It's either you and Brad or me and Brad. It's rarely... But Brad rarely misses a show since he became the de facto host.
Yeah, that's true.
Apparently he has all the cruds. His throat is screeching. Okay, let's get this show on the road. I want to see if I could duplicate... Can I duplicate Brad's intro? No. Okay. Going 3, 2, 1. Hi, everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of Constantly Calibrating Podcast. I'm your host, Josh, not Brad. Brad, as always, is not here, except he usually is here. I don't know where this is going. Hi there. I'm sorry. Justin, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. How about yourself?
I'm wonderful. Well, as you know, people can see, it's just Justin and I. Rarely do the two of us host this by ourselves. But Ryan's got his health stuff, Brad's got his health stuff, and Thad is off circling through the cosmos with Ozzie Smith.
Sounds like Thad.
Yeah,
hair flowing.
His hair is always flowing. Here's the thing about Thad. Even when there's no wind and he's in a perfectly stationary room, his hair still flows. Explain that to me, science.
There's a video game that did that. I forget which one it was. Not the point.
But speaking of Ramtown, just before we actually went live for the audio portion of the show, we were discussing aches and pains. So, yeah, I woke up early the last few days, and I noticed, like, on Friday or something, I had the weirdest kink in my neck. Mm-hmm. And, like, to the point, like, I couldn't really, like, move my head. I lost a change of motion, all that fun stuff. Yesterday, I was hanging out at my in-laws' house, Super Bowl and all that stuff. I'm outside when with Charnel, our friend Christina, my mother-in-law, and obviously, you know, my lovely kid, pushing on the swing, and I just, like, look over at the monkey bars. And I don't know why. I'm a guy who's never really done things involving exertion. I just decided to just jump up and see if I could do pull-ups while my neck was killing me.
That's never a good idea in general.
I did 5.
Wow, I'm impressed, actually.
You know, like, Charnel and Christina's, both of their responses were just like, damn. So I actually felt pretty good about myself. Even my mother-in-law was just like, what the hell? I don't know. I got the urge. Well, I took my kid to his first gymnastics class, like my 2-year-old, on Saturday, and it gave me this weird bug. I used to do gymnastics when I was a kid. The only repressed memory I have is of the time why I stopped doing gymnastics. So, just one of those weird things, but we're not here to discuss it. This show is, you know, gaming geek, not Josh rambling.
Speaking about gaming, I had a gaming weekend. Surprised.
Yeah, me too. I was actually pretty heavy on the gaming and non-Final Fantasy gaming, but go ahead.
Surprisingly. Finished Resident Evil 7.
So how
pretty good about that.
Have we discussed Resident Evil 7 on the show yet?
Briefly between Ryan and myself, I believe, but...
yeah, there was like that brief talk where I spaced out, I think.
But this is, I didn't have that much, I probably was a couple hours in. I like the game, I love the game, almost. It's... Like, they kind of did what Final Fantasy did with 15. It's a Resident Evil for, like, old fans and new. It's still Resident Evil at its heart. Like, it is the most Resident Evil game since... they went the whole Resident Evil 4 engine. Like, it's still puzzles. It just feels like the first Resident Evil, but in first person. It's almost like it's as Resident Evil to the original as, you know, Force Unleashed is to A New Hope.
Okay, I get that.
I mean, even some takes, like, one being in the house, too. There's a few things here and there. Story's really interesting, not to give too much away, but it does that thing that you see something there, and you're like, okay, that's kind of interesting, but eventually the story comes back to that, and it turns out to be a major plot point. So really good on that. Ethan didn't need to talk. I'll put that one out there. Like, he just... Okay. It's at weird points he decides to actually say something, and that's when he doesn't need to.
Okay.
Or, like, something's freaky happy. It's like, oh, damn, that's ugly. Just something just dumb.
Okay. I mean, that sounds... This is weird for me with this Resident Evil, because I've never played a Resident Evil game. I watched the original get played by my next door neighbor when I was, a kid. Whenever it first released, I don't really remember all that much about it. And I never liked horror games, never liked anything. I never liked even when the games were more actiony. I think I watched you play... What was the one with, the, South American zombies or something like that? Like, it was the one that added, the AI character that was following you around, around the time we were living together. Was that 4? Or 5?
Remember? You talking about Resident Evil?
Pretty sure.
No, the only one when it came out around that time is probably 5, but it wouldn't be 5.
Well, in any case, I remember watching you play one. And that's the limit of my experience with the series, but I don't like watching let's watches and let's plays of people playing horror games, but I am desperate to watch a Resident Evil content. I watch you stream it, and I usually, I don't know.
Just already
according, by the way, Diet Cola FTW is saying audio is out of sync and dropping.
It's probably out of sync for a reason. I think I just fixed that. Unless it's still out of sync, then we got a problem. Oh, also, that's why. Okay, talk, Josh.
Hi, Justin. I'm talking right now as we get this is... Brad, feel free to keep this or not in the audio podcast. For the people in the audio podcast wondering, we are out of sync on Twitch, and thankfully people are letting us know.
Not quite out of sync. Your conversation did not go through anything on Twitch, but we got it for the podcast. We'll have it for the video.
Oh, lovely. So I had no audio for, thanks, J. Josie, for that.
It's fine. We just talked about aches and pains.
Yeah, we mostly just talked about aches and pains and how I'm an old man, and I told a lot of stories. Wow.
Yep.
Well, hey, more inspiration when the audio podcasts go live and the video... wait, will that not be in the video podcast either?
No, it'll be in the video podcast.
Okay. Well, in any case, when the audio video podcasts go live, which, we will get that back on track. I officially got my this old computer working for video editing. But when that all goes live, you have more inspiration to go check that out. ConstantlyCalibrating.com, you'll get to see all of that. So
back to Resident Evil.
Back to Resident Evil.
It's good. I recommend it for people who are fans or who are not. It's real cool. Puzzles are nice. Really freaky moments, and VR is awesome. I don't recommend it for everybody, but it's an experience, and it's worth trying at least. It's nice to see that, or hopefully this will lead people to make a more full-fledged VR experience, because it is VR front to back with a few differences. Of course, graphics quality takes a hit. There's this weird thing that, your person doesn't really feel like he exists in the world. I mean, you have your disembodied arms, and, anytime you use an item, you just see it float in front of you and do whatever it needs to do, like a bolt cutters to a bolt. You don't see, the shadow from yourself. While if you play out of VR, you, look down, you see your feet, you're all attached, you have a shadow in the world, and anytime you actually do something, you actually see your, self do it. So that's roughly it. Good game.
I haven't played enough VR stuff, though that is in large part because my, VR-ready computer exploded, more or less, right after Extra Life, so...
Sure. Other things, Double Dragon 4, don't recommend it.
I've heard things, nothing good.
Okay,
nothing bad, but nothing good either.
The Mega Mans they continue are, they're built in the full spirit of Mega Man, they still play like that. Double Dragon 4 feels like they copy and pasted weird assets around... and just from the first one and the second one from the console port, not even arcade, and just the first one and the second one, and just kind of mix them together. It's like a Mugen Fighter or something like that, and then it doesn't work. Their levels they made are pretty ugly. They didn't really add anything to the soundtrack, and you repeat the same songs over and over and over. They kind of alternate as far as repeating goes. So I still play it because it's just a Double Dragon itch, but it's not good. The only thing that kind of justifies it's $7, but you shouldn't encourage them. That's the main thing. Other things.
That's a rough. That's a rough review.
Bought Neo. Can't play it yet. Unlocks tonight. bought Last Guardian because it hit like a sad thing. It hit a permanent $20 price cut, but that was the magic number for me, so I decided to pick it up.
I mean, hey, you gotta hit that magic number sometimes, but I don't know.
Oh, last thing, helped out Chris Hardwick with a PlayStation account issue.
Wait, what?
Oh, this went over Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah, we have roughly like 5 tweets back and forth. Like, he mentioned like, he purchased something. And all of a sudden, like, all his, like, everything's declined, saying it's wrong credit card information. He's like, he tried multiple accounts, he knows they work. They don't work. I kind of mentioned to him, it's like, sounds like something that happened to me. It's like, then we kind of went back and forth. It's like, did you use a new credit card? He's like, yeah. I'm like, does that happen to everybody? But, well, actually, no. I can just straight read them off.
I'm reading it right now. Yeah, if you just go to Justin, look up at the Aging Gamer. It's listed under his thing. You can go to his replies and read this. Apparently, Chris Hardwick told him he should be paid for customer support.
Yeah, he did. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
That happened last night. That was weird.
That's a fun interaction to have.
He briefly knew I existed for that moment, and that's probably going to be it, but there we go.
Hey, that's a better... My one interaction with Chris Hardwick was crying in front of him, so yours is at least a little bit better. And it... So... Hey,
That's Greg's first experience with me.
No, you didn't cry.
No, I didn't. Greg did.
Greg... Yeah, no, Greg's first time meeting you, he cried. YouTube.com/ConkelPod.
You can find that. RTX 2014.
14.
But yeah, that's about my weekend. After that, I woke up achy and kind of miserable day, but I'm good, alright. I'm right now. How about you?
That's not bad. No, doing alright. I mean, my major gaming thing was I played a bunch of the Ghost Recon's Wildlands Beta.
Oh yeah, that happened this weekend too. How can I forget? Sorry.
Well, it's funny because, of the three of us, being Brad being the third, if you watch this, we streamed on Saturday, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we streamed on Saturday. Of the three of us, I'd say Brad was the person who had the least interest in the game. Didn't think it was represented really well in the trailers, had no interest in it. I probably was closer to the most interested just because it looked like a fun Metal Gear Solid 5E with multiplayer thing. And you started off, if I'm correct, really interested, and then it's just started dropping as the game got closer to beta.
Yes. Which might be my new thing for Ubisoft games.
Yeah, it seems that's pretty much been you for the last few Ubisoft things. Hyper excitement, and then I'm not as interested as time goes on. It's weird. I'm actually I'm interested and then severely disinterested, and then I'm like, oh, I like Ubisoft stuff. So I go on this downward thing.
It's a roller coaster.
I do have just a tendency just to like Ubisoft stuff.
Same here. In the end, eventually, I always buy it. But
for the most part, yeah. But it's funny, after it was all said and done, though, you I'd say had the least interest. I still was pretty much in the middle range, and Brad was like, this is a must-buy for me, but I want to wait until it's cheaper, kind of
that
thing.
Really surprised me for Brad. I did not expect that whatsoever.
I think, Brad has the same mentality that I think that I have on a lot of different gaming things when it's multiplayer, where he has no interest in it, and then he plays it with others, and his interest spikes, except he started getting super excited. He was messaging me prior to us going multiplayer saying, this is bad. This is really bad. He's like, this game comes out a week after Zelda, and just before Mass Effect, I do not have the time. I can't do this.
So that type of this is bad. I mean, y'all got Battleborn too. That worked out.
Yeah. So we ended up playing it, streaming it. Despite some issues with the game, I played quite a bit of single player, and then 2-ish hours with you guys multiplayer. I think I did about 3 hours single player and 2 hours multiplayer. I like the character creator. It's good enough. You can make some good zany characters, but they're still grounded in reality zany.
Yeah, I was as Macho Man as probably Macho Man you can get.
Yeah, we decided that I was it gay G.I. Joe had a kid with Snake?
Something like that. Or just say gay Slade Wilson. I think that's what we landed on at the end.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things where I just lost my train of thought completely. The character creator was fun, but the game itself, the way a lot of people are describing it as kind of akin to Metal Gear Solid 5. meets Just Cause is a pretty common one going around.
Yeah, no one I threw around, like, it has the gunplay of Metal Gear Solid 5, or at least aspires that with the open missions, but also has a mix of Mercenaries 2 in there, which everybody forgot that game existed.
It's definitely, yeah, it's, well, I was gonna say, I feel it's Just Cause, the original Just Cause, to be clear. Mercenaries 2, original Crackdown, and Metal Gear Solid 5. I feel like it's like a combination of all of those, but not like the peak of those. Like, it's the hierarchy of how you take on missions of Crackdown, where it's, you know, where it's, you're just going off into the world and exploring to take down these gang leaders, kind of thing, this cartel members. The gunplay, as you mentioned, in Metal Gear Solid 5, but not quite as smooth.
And that's probably what's bothered me. Like, there was a weird, like, half-a-second input lag in there.
Yeah, there was an input lag, again, beta, so maybe that was just not...
But it's a beta that's a month off, which I'm assuming that this is what they usually do. Even though it's that close, this is not the build they're at right now, and this is a much earlier build than they're currently running. Usually
you put out a beta that's a couple of iterations earlier than where you're actually at. I don't know, I'm willing to guess that's going to be a little tighter. I was going to say, it's kind of feels like the traversal of Just Cause, but again, like, toned down. It's darker colors, things of that nature, but it's also just like the traversal. And then, as you mentioned, it's just overarching, just feels like Mercenaries 2.
It does. And the thing is, like, it's continuing the Ghost Recon name, but I have a feeling old Ghost Recon fans, if they're hardcore Ghost Recon, they're probably not going to enjoy it that much, because, like, you could stealth, but you definitely don't need to. And it could be that I'm a jaded Ubisoft gamer at this moment. I can't put my finger on it, but something about it just doesn't grab me. And it's also the time it's coming out. I mean, like, right after Zelda, Mass Effect's going to hit it later.
No, it's bad. It's bad timing, but it, at least from that standpoint, it does appeal to a different demographic, so I do get it somewhat. But to me, this feels like it should be a June release, personally.
I do too. I like
to
really
game.
Need to hold this back, or even like April or May, because there's not much coming out in this genre at that time. And I mean, I think Diet Cola in chat mentioned something like Ubisoft has awesome marketing, but their games never lived through the hype. And yeah, I've been burnt through them time and time again, from the first Watch Dogs to multiple Assassin's Creeds. Even Watch Dogs 2. Watch Dogs 2, good. It's a good game. But I kind of like got burned out at the end of it, but that could be the way I played it too, so I don't know, just kind of falling off. Like, I keep feeling like the Ubisoft games are kind of like the same game, but in different environments, and like, cause it's still the same map layout, still like, hey, big map, ADD, a lot of stuff to do. Just not quite a checkbox, it's just stuff scattered everywhere.
Well, I know a huge thing that we had going on with it, like with this game, where there were missions all over the place, particularly as you started like interrogating people. Missions and pieces of candy, as we always call it, were all over the place. And it got to the point that myself, Justin, and Brad were all selecting different missions simultaneously, like, because we could not stop it. Like, missions were being selected while we were in the middle of missions, and it just went like ballistic, like insanity of what was going on.
Speaking of sanity, like, when things get crazy, I don't know how to feel about the death in the game. It's not really any penalty. It just kind of takes you out of it for a minute.
Unless someone revives you. You spend a minute waiting for revival.
And then, like, they have specific spawn points. And there was once I was playing, I was streaming. I died, but the spawn point I was at is where all the enemy reinforcements are coming out. So I spawned, died. I spawned, tried to fight, die. I spawned, tried to run, die. I spawned, tried to hide, died.
So you got spawn camped by AI.
Pretty much.
That's actually kind of amazing, in a horrible sort of way, of course.
Yeah, they're just getting us back. And about the AI, too, like, at least something to be desired, and the same thing about how they're laid out on the map. Like, I feel like they try to make this feel like a living world, but it's not. You go inside a building, there's not really anything in there to kind of stop you, or that you have to worry about. Like, I kind of want to go in there having to clear rooms or something like that. It's just not, no, all the guys just come out at you for the most part. They try to take cover, but not really.
Yeah, it's just one of those cases where I just feel like it's wave of enemies kind of thing. And the stealth works well enough. I had fun doing stealth in single player. I had zero fun doing stealth in multiplayer.
Oh, it's because somebody will just run right in me.
Yeah, well, I think definitely multiplayer co-op kind of brings out the insanity in most of us, particularly when you're streaming and doing Let's Plays and all that kind of content. Mm-hmm. But it's like, it's still like, when I was playing with the AI, stealth felt viable. When I wasn't, it just didn't. When I was playing with you guys, I just like, why would I bother stealthing? I'm gonna literally drive a Jeep I'm gonna drive it through the frickin' air, or I'm gonna fly a helicopter, which, god damn, those helicopters are brutal in this game.
They are. God, all vehicles are brutal. Like, I forget if it's you or somebody else told me, like, it's easier driving through the woods than it is trying to drive on the road.
That was not, I didn't say that, but I definitely thought that while playing, where I was like, okay, trying to drive on the roads is a nightmare, but the moment I started going downhill, it got so easy. It was just, sure, I was bouncing off every log and flying, smashing off things, but I got to my destination so much faster, and not just because it was a straight line.
Yeah, because I was trying to stay on the road. It's not, it's actually really difficult.
Yeah.
But that being said,
a lot of those cars slip and slide, so.
Super slip and slide. There are definitely moments in the game too. Like I mean, how I want to play this is just everybody, like, we plan it out and everybody has their job and do it. And there's a couple times that I did, like, someone was covering a sniper, someone was sneaking in, and I think we had one guy just in a helicopter just doing strafe runs when things got crazy.
Yeah, I definitely want to do. I think the decision of amongst all of us was like, if the game goes on sale like a month or two afterwards, like $40 or less, we might pick it up. Because I would love to do Let's Plays, but like Let's Plays where it's still our insane stupidity, but we really do try to all have a role, and we try to fill that role. Like, we all try to do things like, it's gonna be Brad and I fighting over who's the sniper is really gonna be like 80% of the video. But the stuff like that, we have our sniper, we have our stealthy sneaking guy, and we try to tactically pull stuff off, like with legitimate tactics, and then just watch, hell go right, because we've never really tried to do tactics in a game other than maybe Payday 2, those old Let's Plays. And that was less us coming up with tactics and more Dylan being so beyond over leveled and telling us what to do.
Yeah, essentially.
Tactics, yes. I don't have the attention span for tactics most of the time. But okay.
We'll see. I'm definitely going to try it again if they do a different one. I'm definitely keep an eye on it. But at the moment, just...
Yeah, again, I want to wait for the drop in price. Again, had a lot of fun. I had a legitimate amount of fun. I had the amount of fun I expected. I just know now that I've played multiplayer, I will not enjoy it single player. At least not at a $60 price point. Like, again, a good $35 to $40 sale, like, price, I'm in. I will buy that in a heartbeat. It also didn't help that I'm playing on my old computer that was on the lowest graphic list settings, was still barely functional.
Well, I would say, highest graphic settings is kind of not functional. It's not because the system couldn't handle it, it's because the effects weren't working or really driving too well. Like, I had to turn off the enhanced God rays because I was getting some weird lighting issues.
Yeah, turn off that enhanced God rays.
Though, shout out for their graphics menu that actually has like a visual what the graphic does and kind of shows you to change in each level you pick. I wish more games done that on PC. It's a pretty awesome thing.
I think that's a nice feature. I actually didn't notice that, but to be fair, the game was freaking out on me so badly that I'm not surprised that I didn't notice that.
Oh, yeah, they create your character and the character disappears and you don't know what you're picking.
I had a thing where the choices were there, but I had a black screen for the first 15 minutes of character select.
It's like, I understand that this beta was released last month or something like that, but releasing a beta at that point this close to release is just a bad idea.
It seems a bit off, but again, maybe it was just an earlier iteration and they just weren't trying to test any of the stuff we're complaining about.
Yeah,
we can hope.
And I know that. You know that, but some of the people who got into beta who are just heavy gamers may not care. That's their impression of the game, and it's not going to change.
My wife just brought me a calzone for the audio listeners. So this will be fun. So any final thoughts on Ghost Recon before we move on to our other topics?
I think I just got just about anything I could think of at this moment.
Fair enough. Yeah, I think we've iterated and reiterated on it. I want to see more of the game. I want to play more of it, but...
I do too. Like, I don't want it to fail. I want it to do good. It's just at the moment it's not grabbing me.
Yeah, it's not grabbing me enough for when it's coming out. So I don't think we talked about this in the podcast, and you mentioned it right beforehand. It was back at the end of January, but I think it was like announced like on the Tuesday after a show. But it was announced that Square Enix and Marvel are partnering up for the Avengers like series of games. It was just really announced a little small teaser thing, and we're not going to hear anything else until 2018, which means this is ripe for speculation and things like that. So, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3.
Yes. Well, speaking of which, like it didn't give it to Eidos Montreal. It's going to be
Eidos Montreal and Crystal Dynamics are both going to be working on it.
Ooh, Crystal Dynamics.
So you're getting the pedigree of the recent Tomb Raider, well, Tomb Raider in general, and Deus Ex.
Essentially,
yeah, they're leading development on the new series of Avengers games, and what they're best known for. We're not going to hear anything for a while, but they're planning. Fans should expect several titles to arrive over a period of multiple years. So, like, several titles, are we expecting like one series of, let's just theorize here, quasi RPG action adventure games, or did they mean that Square's going to be developing multiple games, like how EA is developing multiple Star Wars games?
I'm hoping like this means like that Square's going to be doing multiple games, so they're going to be passing off to their different departments, and like we're trying to think right now, what would Eidos Montreal do? Because at the moment, it's like it's two type of games. It's a first-person RPG or it's a third-person action adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was also Thief they did too. So that and two Tomb Raiders.
Yeah, ultimately, between the two studios, we have a good pedigree for action adventure, and we have a good pedigree for RPG action adventure games.
Oh, so definitely.
There's a lot of potential. I mean, I'm expecting right now the main game that we're seeing right now to be to play as multiple members of the Avengers, and maybe you get to spec out their kits and things like that, and maybe get a third-person game, is kind of what I'm expecting for a first title. Though I really do hope this deal is akin to EA's Star Wars deal, where we're going to get our RPG. We're going to get a, I don't know, first-person shooter. I can't.
They're trying to cover all bases. Well,
a first-person shooter where you play as a SHIELD agent could be interesting. Just pure conceptual.
That really would be. Well, talking about that, like, have we ever talked about how we feel about the way Disney is now handling their games?
No. And I mean, the last Disney discussion we had really the gaming was bitching about Disney Infinity.
Oh, yeah, that part we're happy about, but...
No, but I'm saying, like, that's, I think, the last time. So, to clarify for people what you mean by that, while I'm taking a bite.
Gotcha. So, basically, like, they have taken a new direction, and I like the direction they're taking. They're taking their IPs and just give them to the best studios they think will work out for it. Proven studios, could pop out, like, great AAA titles. So, I wish Konami would do. Konami, just give people Metal Gear, Castlevania. Why not? It gets you money. You don't have to do anything.
At this point, people hate you enough. You may as well just take a shot in the dark.
Yeah, thank you for all those, redone Metal Gear Solid 3 cutscenes just to put in a pachinko machine.
Pretty much.
Anyways, it's great. So far, I mean, we've seen Insomniac get SpiderMan, and not only just like, hey, you gotta do Spider-Man and new Spider-Man. It has to fit in our universe. It says, hey, you get your own Spider-Man universe. Do what you want with it.
Well, I mean, that kind of seems like, what we're getting with the Spider-Man game, so...
Which I'm kind of...
It's coming to PlayStation.
It's kind of like we're getting a little mix of that, too, because I don't know how Square's is going to work out. I know Telltale's is supposed to be Marvel Universe for Guardians of the Galaxy game, I think. Movie Universe, sorry.
Yeah, I think, listen, Guardians of the Galaxy is, the Telltale thing is going to be in the MCU. That's what we've had confirmed. But it seems like the Square Enix thing is going to be its own separate universe. The Spider-Man thing, since that came to be before Spider-Man was even part of the MCU, that's its own separate thing. I feel like a lot of these games are, and they're entirely own separate things. But to be clear, as long as a game doesn't directly go against what happens in a movie, you know what I mean? Like, it's the same thing as how the Old Republic stuff is technically still part of the Star Wars canon because they haven't said anything otherwise. Until they make a movie or an actual official in-canon thing at that time period, you can't decanonize it.
Though they're still, like, trickling in bits and pieces of Old Republic into the Clone Wars
Rebels.
and especially Rebels.
Yeah, no, they've been trickling in little bits and pieces, making that canon. I'm just saying, like, if everything is canon, in those kind of things that otherwise. So you could have this Spider-Man game could be technically, as far as people's mindset in the MCU, because it's not going to theoretically, cross over anything that we see in Spider-Man Homecoming or that we saw in Civil War. So I'm just saying, like, technically that's how it works. Then again, every Spider-Man game that come out of the movies only tangentially related to the damn movies. Like, the story arc of the films that they were telling was almost nothing similar to the actual film. And then there was all this random ass shit in there anyways.
Yeah, like, for Marvel, I'm hoping they just let them go wild, kind of like, because look what we got from Batman that wasn't tied down to a single universe. They let them create their own with your Asylum games. So I'm hoping that for each property tomorrow. For Star Wars, I actually am hoping everything done is tied to canon universe, but not directly following the films. Like, for instance, kind of like what I guess the Matrix tried to do. And it's like, hey, this happens, and this, if you know this, you're going to recognize this in the movie. But if you don't, it's fine. So kind of like adding, it's the new expanded universe, adding more to it in both
video game. Star Wars games are definitely going to be part of the expanded universe. I think that's been pretty much confirmed at this point, that's part of the official canon. And they can do that fairly easily. There's enough Star Wars that you can really do a game at any frickin' time period and it works fine. I mean, I'm just going to dream of 1313's return until the day I die.
Which I guess we kind of might be getting that with Amy Hennig's game.
That is the rumor, is that game is going to be the spiritual successor, essentially, the spiritual offspring.
Yeah, I think so far all we've seen is a quick little video, or snippet in a montage of just a dude kind of walking out that we know nothing about at the moment.
We had known nothing about, but the stylisticness of it was similar enough to make it make sense within that context.
Yeah, you have somebody that's been working on Uncharted games, so
pretty much. So I think we have the potential. All things considered, again, it's too early on the Marvel Avengers Square Enix stuff. I mean, beyond too early, but I'm excited to see what happens with it. I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw Square Enix's name, the press release, I didn't read Eidos Montreal Crystal Dynamics, and my brain, having been playing Final Fantasy, was just like, a Final Fantasy styled Avengers game, kind of thing. I was just imagining like
Prompto gets Iron Man's armor. No,
I mean, speaking of which, did you hear that? So they, with Final Fantasy 15, they were releasing the Power Ranger armor, and then they realized it was too similar to the Power Ranger armor, so they delayed it to completely re-up it, even though it really wasn't that similar to it.
It wasn't. I love somebody posted a video. It's like, it looks more like VR Troopers. And
oh yeah, it's way more VR Troopers than ever could be.
Who would have cared? Nobody would. They would enjoy it. I mean, how can you care when there were so many shows at that time? That's the point of that. But I get it. Like, it's coming out at a bad time, thinking, hey, we're trying to cash off of Power Rangers. We're not.
No, timing was terrible. And let's be fair here. Saban, I believe, is the company behind Power Rangers, is well known for suing over every last little thing. Like, they sue over slight similarities. So that releasing at the same time as the movie, Square would have gotten themselves into a legal thing. It was wise of them to take it down, but at the same time, it was not similar enough that it should have been an issue.
Yeah. Wait, that led me to something else that big happened this week, too. Do we have anything else on Square we want to talk about?
Not really.
Okay, well, I guess the whole Bethesda versus essentially Facebook's Oculus lawsuit finally settled in Bethesda's favor. No, that's technically ZeniMax.
Yeah, ZeniMax. Yeah, I mean, that was kind of nuts. What was it, $500,000?
Something like that, or 50 million? No, I think
no, sorry, $500 million, I meant to say.
There you go, yeah.
Hold on, let me pull it up.
Yeah, I'm afraid to go back to where all my stuff's at, because if anybody's watching, I've already seen my Skype thing pop in, because if I get close to it, it puts me down and it shows all the stuff at the top.
Yeah, I'm pulling up, let's see here.
That's for the video. Audio,
yep,
you don't care.
Yep, Oculus lawsuit ends with $500 million judgment awarded to ZeniMax. Let's see, So yeah, essentially, they were found to be. Let's see, I'm trying to be. So they broke. Oculus is paying $200 million for breaking the NDA, $50 million for copyright infringement. Oculus and Palmer Luckey each have to pay $50 million for false designation, and former Oculus CEO Brendan Iribe has to pay $150 million for the same final count. I mean, there's a lot going on there. So,
and like, there's something about it, like also like a line of code being used.
There's a line of code being used, and then there's also what is it? John Carmack stealing secrets, essentially, is a whole potential thing. Yep, I mean, this is a whole clusterfuck beyond. This is above my pay grade of understanding.
Agreed, but I kind of I was looking at the John Carmack thing, and I remember Mark Zuckerberg goes, "I understand. I understand. I've been there." It's almost like, God, maybe that's just a requirement now. It's like, oh, you partner with Facebook, partner with somebody, get a look at her stuff, get a good idea. Maybe use some of the code, change it a little bit, claim your own thing.
That is the Facebook way to go.
Yeah, granted, my only knowledge of Facebook is like the social network, so. So like it's interesting to see. It's kind of crazy. It's all going on. Oculus, kind of curious to see where that goes. I mean, as far as it going completely away, I doubt it because Facebook money. They can afford it. But I know they're also trying to stop the current production of the Oculus due to the line of code they believe is in there until they fix it and can re-release it.
Well, let's be fair here. Of the three giants of VR, because there's a lot of small stuff in VR, Google's doing stuff, Samsung's doing stuff, but of the three giants of VR, we have HTC Vive, we have Oculus Rift, and we have PlayStation VR. Does that seem fair?
That seems fair.
Of the three, Oculus was the most likely to fail. I feel like once the Vive actually had proof of concept and release, that was the most likely because of price initially. But once people got their hands on it, I feel like Oculus became the most likely to fail.
But Oculus, I think, has the potential to jump back up there with Scorpio coming out, and just all these how nice Microsoft's already being with them. I wouldn't doubt one day where it goes, oh, Scorpio supports Oculus.
I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. I'm sure you've heard all the different stuff about Scorpio, that it seemed very likely it was going to come out at the end of this year, and it was going to be similar to the PS4 Pro, where it's going to be like an iterative jump forward, and then obviously the PS4 Pro was not received well by people. So now it's like the rumor going around is that the Scorpio is not releasing till the end of 2018, which is going to be the confirmation that it's actually the next full gen. They're not doing this whole Xbox family iterative thing. That's at least the rumors that's been going around from a bunch of different places I've been reading and listening to.
But I've also seen some developers like report back, it's like, this is not a step up. They're actually saying this is so much stuff we can do with it now. I know, we're definitely going to see something at E3.
Well, yeah, no, we'll see something with Scorpio there, and that's where I imagine we're going to hear whoever their VR partner is.
True, which I can only imagine it being, well, Oculus, since that's pretty much who they're pretty much supporting at the moment anyways.
It has to be Oculus.
But granted, I don't know if this is going to set things back, but maybe in the end, who cares?
Not particularly. I'm excited about Scorpio, but I hate my Xbox One with such a fiery passion that I don't really want to deal with, at least not at day one. I don't want to deal with another Microsoft console. I don't want to deal with any consoles at day one. I'm only even going the Switch route just because I've never had an issue with the Nintendo system, personally, other than not liking the gaming catalog availability. Like, that's my only issue with the last couple of Nintendo systems. But I'm buying a Switch to play completely different games than I would play anywhere else anyways, so.
It was just the only reason why I buy consoles. Like, the only thing I play on PS4 is usually PS4 exclusives, being first or third party. And Microsoft took that reason away. They started doing the Xbox Play Anywhere, which me as a PC gamer, I know I'm like
playing anywhere.
Yeah, I know I'm one of the smaller markets. Try to play everything you can, and also has a gaming PC. And they eliminated the reason for me to have an Xbox, because the games I would want to play there, I can now play on my PC.
I mean, my dislike of the Xbox is almost if GameStop had Switches available, there's a very high probability I would have traded in my Xbox One towards the Switch.
I'm still thinking about it.
They just don't have them available, but I keep thinking about it because I'm like, I was talking to Brad and he's like, well, what about Xbox One exclusive? I'm like, the only Xbox One exclusive, I still want to play Halo 5. I want to play the story of that. But otherwise, like the next Xbox One exclusive I could give a shit about is Crackdown. And that's already been confirmed to be coming to Xbox Play Anywhere. So what the hell do I need an Xbox One for?
Which is sad, because Microsoft's actually making a lot of steps forward. It's just they're so behind in this generation of gaming that they're not going to catch up. Because I really hate it.
They're extremely behind. I mean, what is it? Don't they have little less than half the units sold of the PS4?
Yes.
I mean, they've lost this generation, which is fine. People lose, they go switch back and forth. Honestly, the console wars is a big load of shit. You shouldn't give your loyalty to a big, bureaucratic company anyways, regardless of what you think of it.
Yeah, because you're there to play games, not the consoles. But Xbox does make a lot of right steps. One, definitely being how they handle backwards compatibility and this sense of ownership of your digital stuff, like that you can keep carrying it on to the next console, the next console, the next console, which I feel like, even though I know everybody claims for backwards compatibility, I'm one of those. I like to know it's there, and but I know once it comes out, people really don't go back.
No, they don't. But it's still having that warm, special place is what's nice about it. It's having the ability to go back.
It's like what it's doing for me is the same thing PC's doing for me, because I'm making that jump to be just purely digital. I just bought Resident Evil physical, but that's only because I thought I was going to trade it in, but I actually like it, so I'll probably keep it. But Microsoft actually is kind of helping me think about my stupidly large game collection, a physical game collection. Like, I'm starting to see these things pop up that I'm like, well, now I got a digital copy. I don't need to keep this anymore. So I actually have to go through and start sorting through and try to cut down as much as I can, which is something I need to do anyways, but that definitely kind of helps it.
Yeah, I will definitely say this generation in general has made me care a hell of a lot less about having physical copies of games. On PC, I'd already really stopped giving a shit a long time ago about it. But
I stopped giving a shit as soon as I got better internet. Because that's the only reason why I buy physical copies for PC, which I imagine right now is the only reason to buy a physical copy for anything is if you have bad internet and you want a quicker way to install it.
I mean, the other reason to buy physical is the reason I still am buying physical on a lot of things is because due to places like Best Buy and Amazon, you can usually save money in the pre-order / first 2 weeks by buying physical. Like, that's the reason I'm still doing is because at the moment, digital copies get like, I don't know, either a cheaper starting point or there's some similar deal where I can save that degree of money, 20% off right off the bat. I'll switch entirely to digital on every platform.
Same. I know they're trying that, like, a little bit. I know PlayStation tries to do deals right off the back at times. PC, you can find them anywhere, which is a great thing about PC gaming. You know where to look. Yeah. You'll be getting playing like $30 for
ConstantlyCalibrating.com/GreenManGaming. Go there and just log in, and you get 20% off all games.
There you go.
Yep. Or whatever the best deal is. I forget exactly how they're doing it now.
I forget too. Anyways, stuff, things. Lost my train of thought.
It's fine. I'm chewing.
Yeah.
Terrible timing. Okay.
But most of the show we're kind of making up as we go along, so this is not our standard group heavily planned. Yada yada yada.
Yeah, I
almost got to the GameStop stuff, but I feel like that. No, I know that's something that Brad needs to be here for.
No, we need Brad here for that. I think actually, I would even like Ryan here for that.
Yes. As
a former GameStop employee, I think I think having the four of us and at that here, if he wants to, ask questions and things like that, I think that would be best for that. So we should definitely try to tackle that next week.
Is it really like that?
Exactly. Some insider discussions. I had a little topic here about, but this was it could be a full topic, and we've gone on a while. Now, not as long as our normal shows, but I don't know. I really got nothing else to say. Like, this was just this is what happens when you put Justin and I alone on a podcast, and I've been busy all weekend, so I literally hadn't at no point thought about what our topics were going to be.
Yeah, I'm the one that just works and just comes in exhausted as is.
Pretty much. So it's just one of those cases where it's just like, okay, well, we played Ghost Recon, let's talk about that. And then, so it was fun. I think I had a good show. I like you know me, I like at least once a month doing a zero-sum show.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So with that being said, You can find Constantly Calibrating at constantlycalibrating.com. You are watching this live, we hope, on twitch.tv/Constantly Calibrating. Make sure to give us a follow and check us out. We do the show every Monday night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. You can also follow us on facebook.com/Constantly Calibrating. On Twitter, it's at ConCalPod. I'm at BearPunch. Justin is at The Aging Gamer. YouTube.com/ConCalPod. Stuff is going to start coming back up there soon because I got editing working on this computer finally. So video podcasts from the last, I think, almost to Thanksgiving should be going up soon. I'm working on it, trying to do my best to get those going. And then a few belated video reviews that didn't make their way to the airways, just so, you guys have them out there. Instagram, Constant Calibrating. Once we get stuff back in order, the hierarchy back in place and get this back in order, the social media will pick up again. We've actually had meetings recently where I'm delegating the people. So we may actually start producing content properly behind the scenes. Yeah! Woo! What was that sound? I'm full of cheese.
Full of cheese, yeah!
And you can find the Constant Calibrating podcast on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn, Google Play Store, and anywhere where you can punch in the RSS feed. If you could do us a favor, go on iTunes, leave us a review. It helps a lot. I know everyone says it helps a lot, but the thing is, it legitimately helps a lot. The more reviews a podcast have, even if they're not perfect 5 stars, the more trackability, the better iTunes actually tracks and it matters. And for a show like ours is going on 5 years, we lost, I think most people who've listened know, we had about a dozen reviews on the old podcast page, and we lost because at some point early on in the show, I wrote the word shit in the description, and whoops, apparently 3 years later, iTunes took offense to that. So, mistakes where we need you guys to go out and review the show. That being said, hopefully the full, or most of the full team will be back next Monday for a brand new episode of the Constant Calibrating Podcast. With that, we bid you good sign off.
Bye. Okay.
God, I'm an animated motherfucker.